Man, just look at this mid-2000s computer graphics stuff here. Certainly hits different from nowadays. Metagross missing a leg, I know it's just behind him, but still, missing a leg. Salamence and Flareon look alright. What on earth happened to this Dragonite though? I don't know, he did not fare very well. Hey guys, this is GamerCal. Welcome to the 26th of our Pokemon trading card game sets. We're on Delta Species this time, and this literally changes everything. Not just in terms of the gameplay style, we will go over that, but you see there's a lot of funky colours on these cards here, but it also has a lot of lore behind it, which I did look up because I got a bit curious here, and I found a Reddit post that kind of went over all of the stuff that was related to the sets involved in the Delta Species stuff. So I kind of want to go over that first, because I think it sets the stage pretty well for what we're expecting to get out of here. So the Holon region itself was inhabited by humans who wished to search for the elusive Mirage Pokemon Mew. Don't tell them that it's actually the new species Pokemon, you know, they do what they want. They established a city that's just also called Holon, and scientists there utilized the unique magnetic properties of the area to produce electromagnetic waves via a large tower, which is the Holon Research Tower down here, and they did that in order to track the location of Mew. However, the electromagnetic waves there mutated the local Pokemon in the area, so they had abnormal types inconsistent with their usual genetic structure. Most of them gained the metal type initially. That's what we see in this set. All of our higher stage evolutions are part metal. Not all of them in the lower stages are, but the higher stage ones are all metal type. And these affected Pokemon became known as the Delta Species. These waves also managed later on to fill a nearby island and cause power crystals to appear, and that caused a lot of the Pokemon on that island to change type as well. That's a bit more of a drastic change, we'll see that in future Delta Species sets here. And then the last one is Dragon Frontiers, where the scientists have been, they'd already left, and the Pokemon who had weird typings and such, their bloodlines were just infused with that now, so they were permanently different types, and we get all sorts of funky stuff happening as we go. So yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. Science did a bad, and we get mutated Pokemon over here. On the cards themselves, you can see they do have like the colors based on their actual types as well, quite often. Mewtwo being fire over here, for example. Rayquaza has lightning around it. There's a lot of cool stuff that way. So what does this mean for gameplay? Well, here it means that we have a tag on the cards, we have Delta on the cards themselves, and we have, in this case, dual typing. This typing is probably more of a negative for these guys on the most part, because that metal type is vulnerable to Battle Frontier. A lot of these guys have got really good abilities which will be shut off by that. However, it does also mean they can use special metal energy. So, of course, for the third set running, that's going to be included in this set. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. The scientists themselves, however, also have some Pokemon that are brought over here. We do have the Holon's Electrode and Magneton. There will be a cast form later on that does this too, where you actually get rainbow energy effects off of these. We need a few of them, so we'll hopefully get that. And there's a whole supporter engine, which we get from here as well. The Holon supporters. These all require you to discard a card, and are generally, with Mentor as an exception here, they're generally weaker than most other supporter cards, but they have a one-time printed search card for them as well. Holon Transceiver is probably one of the most important cards from the set if we want to build the Holon Engine, because we will need to get this in order to search the cards out, but it also acts as a Versus Seeker, so it's roll compression as well. Very, very powerful card there. There's a few other things that we want to get, but hopefully we'll just see them as we go along, so I won't take too long going over it. Really what we want here is a coherent strategy this time round. We didn't really get anything last time that was particularly playable without like huge trades that weren't really possible, so we scraped together Meganium, but other than that, really wasn't a lot. So hopefully this time we just pull like, 3 copies of, say, the Crobat or even the Gardevoir, whatever, just so long as we can actually play it. That would be the main thing. So let's go ahead and open up our 36 packs and see what we can do. Straight away, this is awesome. Okay, so Jolteon, the Evolution EXs, there's only 3 of them in this set, and they are 1 per box on average, so this is a crazy start to this one. Evolutionary Thunder is our play here. When you evolve into the Jolteon, you put a damage counter on all of the opponent's Pokemon. It then has Meditate effectively with Second Bite, and Thunder Blast, which is 70 for free, discard the Lightning. 0 retreat on this guy, it's resistant to Metal, so it's resistant to like all of the Delta species in this set, which is really cool. At least the higher stage evolutions of them, which is what you're going to be facing. 2 other noteworthy cards in here. Skarmory I think is surprisingly good in a lot of these Delta decks. If it's the only Pokemon you have in play, the opponent's basics can't attack, so if you can lead with this card, you can make it so the opponent doesn't get an attack on their opening turn. Cry for Help is pretty decent there as well, because the Metal Pokemon you search can be the final stage evolution for the Delta species, and then playing Swoop Teleporter the turn afterwards, you can switch this for the Pokemon that evolves into what you searched, and go from there, which is really good. The other noteworthy card, I mean, there is a Volbeat here which gets Safeguard if you have an Illumise in play as well. Why it doesn't just have Safeguard, we already had a Wobbuffet before that did this, I don't know, but whatever. There's a Ditto which has Duplicate, so it follows the same thing as like a Cast form or a Deoxys form or an Unknown did, where you can swap out for other Dittos and whatnot. Not really going to be beneficial for us because we didn't get the Fire Red Leaf Green Ditto, but Sai might want it. And then we have a Cubone with Rage. This is good because we picked up Meteor Falls, and this is a good target to use it on. Meteor Falls lets you use the pre-evolution attacks with your evolved Pokemon, so if we play this with a Marowak, then we can use Rage on the Marowak, which is really good. Moving on, let's see if we can keep that trend going. A couple of somewhat noteworthy things here. We actually do have the Illumise straight away, which is kind of fun. This gets protection against Pokemon with Dark in their name, so the Team Rocket cards can't do anything to this, which is neat, I suppose. Call for Family is fine. The problem with it is that it doesn't really do anything beyond that. So, not really worth it, but hey, at least it's a cute synergy, right? The cast forms in this set all rely on Holon Energy, which unfortunately is a rare, so we're probably not going to get to use that, but, you know, it'd be great if we could, but just not going to work, I don't think. 1 energy, draw 3 if it's a Holon Energy, though, is actually pretty strong, so, could be decent. Wheezing is a fun card here. If it's your active, you put a damage counter on each of the opponent's Pokemon that has a Pokebody between turns, and it synergizes with the Mist Attack that's just a spread 10. We see Mist Attack all over the place, but this does an extra bit of chip damage, so that could be quite good. And then the Holon's Magnemite. I mentioned the Magneton and the Electrode doing energy attach stuff. The Magnemite and the Voltorb also do. You can attach them as a colorless energy, which is important because you can search these. So if you play, say, the Holon's Mentor or Lynette's Net Search, something like that, you can search for an energy attachment as well. So pretty cool. Beldum is the last somewhat notable here. Conductive Body is pretty cool. It does let you retreat for free if you get 2 Beldum in play, but more importantly, this is now a 3rd type of Beldum, so if we don't play Holon Mentor, we could play Lynette's Net Search if we don't get the Holon Engine, and that way we could get 3 different Beldum in play on the first turn, which would be pretty sweet. Moving on here, excellent 3rd pack as well here. This is the Eevee that you want to play with the EX evolutions, because Call for Family is really good. You can play the Delta Species one as well, that might still be usable, but this is the best one because it has a Call for Family attack. We also have Porygon 2 here, which is not good for its attack, but neither is Bibarel, and Bibarel is very slightly worse than this nowadays. You draw until you have 6 cards in hand. Keep in mind this is a colorless Pokemon, so it can be disrupted by Battle Frontier. You will have to play around that. But that is easily possible, and this will allow for some faster paced decks than we have had access to so far. Really looking forward to seeing this card played actually. Moving on. Couple of noteworthy things here. We do have Holon Scientist, so all of the Holon supporters require you to discard a card first. This one matches your opponent's hand size. You draw cards until you match what they have. So it's a bit like a weaker Copycat, except this is searchable and recoverable in the same card. So this works really well if you get Transceiver. And then we have the Jolteon. This is probably the best of the Gen 1 evolutions in this set in terms of non-EX. All of the Gen 1 EVs follow the same pattern where they have the 70 HP Delta Surge does 10 for a colorless and searches your deck for a Holon energy to attach to itself. And then it is type, its own type of energy plus metal plus colorless to do 50. Return an energy if you choose to the hand and do a bonus effect. Jolteon's is the best effect because it snipes 20 to one of the opponent's bench. Also, this thing resists metal, so it resists all the Delta species in the set, just like the EX Jolteon does. So I actually think this could be really good if you play Energy Root to give it extra HP. So, definitely not bad to see. Couple of excellent cards in here as well. We'll just go over the Eevee real quick as well, because this does actually help with the Delta species stuff. Metal Scoop is pretty good. Search your discard for a metal energy, put it onto the Eevee. I believe the Metang that I played before actually did this too, and it was nice, so lets you recover metal, really good. Speaking of getting metal energy though, this Starmie is excellent for that. Once during your turn before you attack, search your deck for a metal energy and attach it to the Starmie. So just like Dark Electrode, this gets energy which is hard to search for otherwise, puts it into hand. Its attacks are fine, it's only got 60 HP though, so a little bit on the low side there. Energy loot could potentially be good if you can accelerate the energy next turn. 30 for 1 is okay I guess, so not too bad. Then we have an Electrode as well, so to attach one of these you have to bounce back an energy from your Pokemon to the hand, so it works best with acceleration powers such as the Starmie we just saw, or the Blastoise, Magneton, stuff like that we've got. But this provides double rainbow. And it provides double rainbow to anything, so you can use this with the X Pokemon as well. Create some very, very strong combos that we're hoping to see. So, definitely need a couple of these. Great Ball and Dual Ball both get reprinted in this set. We have max copies of them and there's a couple in the decks, so we're just hoping not to see too many of them out of the packs here. Let's keep going. Master Ball also gets a print here for reasons, I don't know. It's there. Another Electrode is really good though. Sadly, the Rapidash once again just isn't very powerful. Looks kinda nice, but yeah, not really a very good card, so we'll unfortunately be ignoring it here. A couple of cards to note in this one. Latios is actually fantastic if you can get into the right engine for this. If you have a Latias in play, not Latias Star unfortunately, although we don't have that yet, but you know. It doesn't count. You get to pay 2 less colorless for Psychic Force, which is good because you can't boost energy of basic Pokemon, so it's an expensive attack. But it would be 80 damage for 3 energy, and it only does that if the opponent has Stage 2 evolutions in play. But guess what? That's what most decks are playing, so very good card to have a couple of here. Holon Lass is an excellent early game card for a couple of different decks. Count the number of total prize cards left. Look at that many cards on the top of the deck, choose as many energy, not just basic energy, that you find there, show them to your opponent, put them into hand. This would be really good for a quick Blastoise deck, where you could potentially get 3 to 6 energy by looking at the top 11 or 12 cards. Or potentially good for a Magmar using deck with, say, Electrode EX, where you can get a bunch of energy and then discard them to draw bonus cards with the Magmar. So, and use them later on with Electrode. Or recover them with Dragonite or something. You know, there's a lot of really good facility uses for that. So, not bad. Speaking of the Dragonite, here it is. Very, very good card to see here. So, Dragonite is a lightning type. Once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a basic lightning energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. This is Fire Starter for lightning, which is really good. Its 2 attacks are decent as well. Agility is a fair enough attack, I suppose, and Heavy Impact is just okay damage. A little bit expensive, but with its own acceleration it is pretty strong. Use this with a Metagross from this set because it has Crush and Burn, so you can discard these energy and do extra damage. Really good stuff. Holon Ruins is a nice card to get as well. If you have a Delta Species Pokemon in play, you can draw a card and then discard a card. It's a stadium, so both players get to use it, but that's still pretty powerful. And finally, this Ditto is the one copy of it I wanted to see, because this Ditto, much like Pseudo Woodo that we got in the previous set, has got Copy, so you can steal the opponent's attack if you can pay for it. You pay for it using the Holon Electrode or the Magneton, so you can double Rainbow and just use whatever you want. So this is pretty good. Gives you a Psychic type of weakness hit on that sort of thing. So a good one tech with the Pseudo-Widow in that sort of deck. Moving on. Again, another Jolteon, so this could be playable at this point. Energy Root is kind of nice for this. It gives it 90 HP, so might be a deck if we can get the Holon Energy to go with it. The Vaporeon over here, this one, when you return an energy from it to the hand, you get to do the same to the opponent's active. So if you're not KOing it, you can remove problematic energy on them, force them to do another attach. If you are KOing, obviously you don't want to do that discard though, so it's not super useful to be honest, but you hit water weakness, maybe that's enough to play it. Moving on. Another Latios is nice. The Raincast form over here for free energy does 30 plus 10 for each Holon energy that's attached. Once again, the Holon energies are rares, so we're probably not going to get enough of them, but in theory you could do 60 for free on a basic, which is kind of cool. It's neat, probably not good enough here. Hariyama is somewhat interesting. If you're behind on prizes, you take and deal 20 less and more damage respectively. So you take 20 less, you do 20 more. This makes Brick Smash competitive. It does 70 for free at that point. Also, that's just one scramble energy. So yeah, with enough scrambles, this is actually kind of decent. Solid Rage would then make it 90. So kind of strong. You know, there's some merits to this. It's probably just not good enough, mind you, but I could see it. One good card, one bad card to note here. Azurill is unfortunately not super good. The Azumarils are just not worth anything. We didn't get the one from Team Rocket, so there's no paralysis evolution stuff here. And even if it was, you wouldn't play a stage 2 to get there, right? Type Match is the actual attack that it has. You choose a basic energy in your hand, show it to the opponent, and then search for a Pokemon of that type, put it into hand. So in theory, this is an okay starter, but honestly, you're better just using Ball Search, right? This is the card we actually want from this pack, though. Holon Mentor is awesome. Discard a card from your hand, then search your deck for 3 basics that have 100 or less HP in your deck. This does not exclude EXs, so yes, you can't get Deoxys EX, the one basic that we're using of this level, but if there's another one that we want that's only 90 HP, say, we could pick it up, which is fantastic. Celebi EX actually is probably the biggest target for that. So really, really good. We need to see more, probably more of the Transceiver, but if we don't get Transceiver, we want the Mentor. This is a fascinating pack here. So second Mentor, Rayquaza is somewhat intriguing. Again, requires a lot of Holon energy, which we haven't picked up yet. Because you need a Holon energy on this thing so that you don't put 7 damage counters on yourself with Lightning Storm. Doesn't destroy all the opponent's back row or their attack position monsters, so you know. It's always funny seeing Yu-Gi-Oh! Attacks on Pokemon cards, even if these predated them. Power Blow is whatever, so really this is about Lightning Storm. It's just a case of you've got to have the Holon energy in order to make it work. Flareon EX is a fascinating one to see alongside the Jolteon here. If you evolve into Flareon, you burn and confuse the opponent's active. Unfortunately, we don't have Ariados to go with this because we didn't pull it last set, so we can't make that deck, but it's a pretty good Evolutions card in general. Flame Screen is also fine, 30 minus 20 next turn, so you take less damage. 110 HP makes that pretty useful, and Heat Tackle is just a straight 10 to yourself, but 70 for free is respectable. So, pretty good card overall. We've got another Electrode here. This is the best card that we have out of that one. Definitely nice to see the EV since we're getting some of the EXs though. Maybe I need to try and pull that Umbreon off of Psy after all. Here is our first Holon Energy, and a lot of people consider this one the best one. I'm not sure, I actually like the others a lot as well. So the Holon Energies, if they're attached to non-EXs, they provide bonus abilities if you have basic energies as well on the Pokemon, corresponding to the correct type. So it's only a colorless if it's on an EX, but if it's on a non-EX and you have a fire energy as well as this attached, you have no weakness. So that's actually really good because a lot of fire decks are just water weak, right? If you have a fighting energy on, your attacks aren't affected by resistance, which is fantastic because most fighting types do get shafted by resistance quite often. So very nice card to have there. Sandslash is a little bit underpowered, but is an interesting card nonetheless. If it's your active, you put a damage counter on the opponent's EXs between turns. Doesn't get HP locked like Desert Ruins, but would stack with Desert Ruins, so you could do some fun stuff there. Rend, unfortunately 40 for 2 is standard, so to have that on a condition is pretty awful, and Slash just doesn't do enough damage, so unfortunately not amazing there. This is a really cool pack as well, the third Mentor, so even if we don't get Transceiver, this is looking like a really solid setup right now. Umbreon works pretty okay with the evolutions we have here. When you attach when your opponent attaches a special energy card to one of their Pokemon, you put a damage counter on that Pokemon, similar to how Ampharos used to do it with like the conductivity stuff. So that's pretty cool. Feint Attack is okay. This thing is Dark and Metal, so even though it does take both energy types, it gets benefits from both, so there is that at least. But Snipe 30 for 2 cost that way is rather large. That's a high cost to pay, to be honest. Mewtwo is pretty cool though. This might actually somewhat help that cost with a Stadium that we get later on, hopefully. When you put this down onto your bench, move any number of basic energy from your Pokemon to non-Mewtwo Pokemon in any way that you like. It specifically does that because its own attack does bonus damage for the energy that's on itself and the opponent's active. Very much like the original Gardevoir actually, or Deoxys EX that we picked up before. So you use this to increase the amount of damage some of your Pokemon do with like almost random energy acceleration going on the board. Like the Dragonite accelerates to the bench, but if you need that energy on the active, you can play Mewtwo to get it to the active. So very cool. Moving on, second Dragonite. That's actually really nice. So now we just need Metagross to go with this. Yeah, very happy to see a second one of those. Nothing else to really speak on here. I mean, Delta Eevee is kind of cute, but let's just move on. Are you kidding me? Oh, people are going to be mad at this one because this is a third evolution. These are 1 per box odds, 1 in 36. It's the same one, it's not the Vaporeon, but this is actually kind of neat. Holon Transceiver is the card that we really wanted here. As I've mentioned already, you search your deck or your discard pile for a supporter that has Holon in its name and put it into hand. So this increases the consistency of your Holon Mentor starts, but it also lets you recover something like Holon Farmer or Scientist if you want to draw cards later on. So really good card, definitely happy to see that. Gardevoir is an interesting one. We're starting once again to get sort of bitty in terms of the cards we're getting here. Like we've got Dragonite, but we haven't really got consistent strategy otherwise so far. Gardevoir is cool though. Energy Jump lets you do the same thing as the Alakazam that did this in Skyridge. Move any energy card from one of your Pokemon to another one. Its 2 attacks are kind of good too. We've seen Black Magic already for 1 less colorless, surprisingly, on the Dark Hypno. So 10 plus 20 for each of the opponent's bench Pokemon. Psychic Rage is probably the more interesting attack here. For each damage counter on the Gardevoir, you snipe 10 to 1 opponent's Pokemon. Like you choose 1 and snipe 10 per. So that's kind of fun. It's a decent enough card, so maybe it could see play if we get enough of it. This is probably the first pack we've had that hasn't really had anything of interest here. Swallow is not amazing. It's either like agility for no damage or focus energy next turn. Like 100 damage for free energy would be really good, but it's never going to survive, and if it does, it's never going to stay in the active because the opponent's just going to force it out. So not really a useful pack there, unfortunately. Second Rayquaza would be great if we had more of the Holon energy. We've only picked up 1 so far, so we need to try and get more of those. Holon Researcher, there's a couple of these in the theme decks, so we're hoping not to get too many of these. You search your deck for a Metal Energy, hard to find once again, or a Delta Species card, Evolution or Basic Pokemon. So, neat. You know, it lets you get your Pokemon that you would need, or you can search for an energy that's hard to get out of the deck. So, good stuff. Moving on here. Second Mewtwo, we really only need 1 of these, to be honest. You don't tend to want to play more than 1. It can't move to itself after all, so a little bit awkward on that one, but still could be good. There's the boy. Okay, so 4th Holon Mentor. That's worth noting here. This is fantastic if we can just play that now. Metagross is the pick here, and we could build a version of Meta Knight now with this. So Delta Control, once during your turn you may look at the top 4 cards of your deck, get one of them to hand, put the other 3 to the bottom of the deck in any order, which is neat. Crush and Burn for Lightning Metal then does the same thing as what Electrode EX does. Discard energy cards from any of your Pokemon, do 30 plus 20 for each one you discarded. So for every Dragonite you get in play, you can effectively do 70 a turn with this attack for just 2 actual attachments, and then your others are on the bench. So infinite damage potential here as well. Very, very good stuff. Combines with the other Metagross that we have to accelerate the metal from the discard as well, so you can do all sorts with this. Really, really cool. Not too great of a pack here. Slowking is the only real noteworthy thing. Once during the turn before you attack, you may choose one card from your hand to put as a face-up prize card so that you can take one of your other prizes. So prize manipulation, pretty interesting at the very least. Doesn't really do a ton, except if your deck is very prize sensitive and you have seen that you have something important in the prizes, or if you prize like 4 energy or something, this could be good. Psychic option works best with a rainbow style energy. If you have a water on you, you do 40 for 2. If you have a psychic on you, you derail the opponent, discard a special energy from the active. So if you have both types, you do both effects. One energy providing both types, because it doesn't say basic energy card, will actually do both effects in one go, which is pretty good. Alright, last third of the box. Let's see if we can tie this up with some good stuff. Holon Farmer is one we haven't seen yet, actually. We do need 1 copy of this. You discard a card to use it, and then you do Energy Recycle System and Pokemon Retriever at the same time, at least the second effects of them. Shuffle 3 basic energy and 3 Pokemon cards back into the deck. So very, very good recovery card here. Also, again, searchable with the Holon stuff, so that's very nice. Second Porygon 2 is really good here, another Holon Farmer, another Skarmory too. I think we're on a playset of this now, which is fantastic. 2 Porygon 2 is really, really good though. We might well just be fine with that. Espeon is one we haven't seen yet. This could also go in the Evolution Tech deck. Once during your turn, you may remove a damage counter from all of your Delta species Pokemon, which is kind of good. The attack is pretty poor, to be honest, so we're not really going to see it for that, but the actual effect of the power is amazing. So definitely happy to see that one. Moving on, a second firefighting Holon Energy is pretty good. I want to see the Grass Lightning one if we're going to play these Rayquaza, but maybe we try and trade them to somebody else if they pull lots of Holon Energy. Moving on here, another Espeon, not really too special because we can only play 1 of that power per turn. The cast form here searches for a Holon Energy card and attaches it to one of your Pokemon, but it does so for 2 energy, which is rather expensive, so I don't know about that one, Chief. Seems kind of bad. Moving on here, are you kidding me? Really? A 4th EX as a 1 per box thing, and it's the Vaporeon too, so we have the whole collection. Evolutions EX is looking like a deck we could play right now. Once during your turn, when you play this to evolve one of your Pokemon, you judge the opponent, make them shuffle draw forward, up to 4, but they're going to draw 4, let's be honest. Its attacks are middling, but it does have more HP than the other evolutions, so there is that. 40 damage, not affected by anything that isn't weakness. Hydro Splash is just a straight 60, but unlike the other 2 evolutions, there's no cost associated with that, so that's pretty good. Wait, is that our 4th or our 3rd one? It's our 3rd one, right? Because we've had... Oh no, we got 2 Flareon. So 2 Flareon, 1 Jolteon, and a Vaporeon here. That is crazy. Alright, moving on. Speaking of Flareon, this is the one we have here. So if you return an energy from this thing to hand, it burns the opponent as well. So you might get 70 damage out of this. It's middling. I think, again, the Jolteon is clearly the best one, but this is still okay, right? Moving on. A 3rd firefighting Holon Energy. Okay, that's pretty solid. Next pack. There we go. Transceiver number 2, Grass Lightning as the next Holon Energy here. So if you have a Grass Energy as well as the Holon Energy on the Pokemon, you do not get affected by special conditions. You can heal special conditions with this too, which is pretty good. And then if you are having a Lightning Energy attached, for each one of the Holon Energies you have on it, EXs take, do 10 less damage to you. Specifically for each of the Grass Lightning energy you have on, so it would only be 10 right now, not 40 if we had all of them. This is good though, it's 4 Holon energies that we can use for our Rayquaza and such here, so pretty sweet. Here, unfortunately, this Starmie is not the good one, but we already have a copy of the good one, so I think we're fine on that front. Swift just isn't really very strong, to be honest. Salamence is really cool, but we would need another one if we were to consider this, and we don't have the stadium to make it work, so it's a little bit underwhelming here. Fire Dance is pretty neat. You search your discard pile for a fire energy and attach it to any one of your Pokemon. 30 for 2 whilst doing that is pretty nice. Then Delta Blast is 100 for 4, but you have to discard a metal energy attached to the Salamence. There is a stadium that we just haven't pulled, which would actually turn your basic energies into metal as well, so you could discard a basic energy instead, but we just haven't picked it up, so you probably would have to play this with the Metagross that we had before, and well, it could be an interesting deck. 2 packs left to go. Electrode is really good. This is definitely the 4th Skarm if we didn't already have it. Persian would have been useful in a different format. We saw this with Roserade in Gen 5 actually see play. When you evolve into the Persian, you search your deck for any one card and put it into hand, which is good. But it's a colorless in a format with Pidgeot that does this on a once per turn. Even if it is a stage 2, we have Gen 3 for Red Candy, so not really good enough here. And the last pack is the Magneton, which is nice. So just like the Electrode, this is a double rainbow that you attach to one of your Pokemon and bounce an energy that's already on that Pokemon in order to attach it. Okay, well, we got a coherent strategy. It's not a strategy I was expecting, but we got a coherent strategy out of this. I'm gonna have to try and trade for Umbreon EX now, for sure, because this be crazy. So, yeah, we kind of got Meta Knight. Like, if I play it with the other Metagross, we only got one Metagross from this set, so it's definitely not crystal clear how good it would be, but we could do it. There's a lot of potential from this set of pulls, so let's just go over said pulls and show exactly what I'm talking about here. As far as the actual spare stuff goes, once again we got nothing of note, so nobody cares when it comes to this stuff. But look at what we actually got from the set proper. So we have ourselves the one Magneton is fine, 4 Electrode, so I think we take the Salamence deck here, which is intriguing because we didn't get Crobat, so I think we take the Salamence deck because we don't need the Electrode here. That gives us another Porygon 2 as well, so when we get down to that we will see. We already have 2, but we will have a 3rd one, so that's really good. But look at this here. 2 Flareon EX, 1 Jolteon EX, 1 Vaporeon EX. Crazy stuff. Again, these are supposed to be 1 per box average, so this is unbelievably high for this. Very, very lucky. Maxed out on the good Eevee too, so there is that. Couple of regular Jolteon, a Flareon, Vaporeon. Yeah, there's enough of the Delta Eevees that we could maybe do some tech stuff with that too. 2 Dragonite down here is pretty solid, 2 Mewtwo is fine, that's enough if we were to want to try and do something that way. The rest of it kind of falls apart a little bit from there though. Only 1 Gardevoir, can't really do anything with that. Only 1 Salamence, can't really do anything there. 2 Rayquaza actually kind of works because we got 4 Holon energy, so we can probably work with this. Only 1 Metagross, we're going to have to do some heavy lifting with the other one, and probably a high count of Pokemon Retriever to get this back. But I think this could still work. Would have loved the second one, but I think we can do stuff with it. And then 2 Latios here, but no Latias, which is a real shame, because you need the Latias in order to make this work. This would be a really good tech attacker, but we're going to have to try and trade for the Latias to do stuff here. We got no stadium cards from this set, which is annoying, because the Research Tower would have been very good if we wanted to try and play the Salamence. 2 Transceiver is a little on the low side, but when we see what the actual Holon supporters are like, I can't complain. We're going to get max playsets of everything except Farmer, which we only need 1 of anyway, so that's fantastic. There's 2 of these and 1 of these in both theme decks, so that's fine. Yeah, if we just play more copies of Mentor, then we're okay with the Transceiver that way. We can play VS Seeker to substitute if we need to. So, did we get a coherent plan? Yes. We got one, and it's like the weirdest one to get because it's the hardest one to get. But we do have evolutions, so that is probably the way we go with this one. Other than that, I don't know, maybe we can try and trade into Salamence. We do have the Dragonite to play, so I think we can make something out of this. Very, very intriguing set, to say the least. As we'll go over the theme deck stuff again real quick, we could either choose to get the Crobat, which we didn't get any copies of. Very good card, but I think we're trading our Crobat EX at this point because we just don't have the tools for it. And then one extra Electrode, but we already have 4 copies of that, so we don't need that deck. So it comes down to this one, where we get a third Porygon 2 and a Salamence. So maybe we try and trade into getting the Salamence stuff, but we really need the Stadium for that. We didn't get any copies of this Stadium here, which is pretty important for the Salamence deck. So hopefully somebody would be willing to part with the stuff that way. I doubt it though, because you can probably make use of that for most of these cards. So we'll just have to see what happens. Regardless though, this is a fascinating opening. Very, very interesting to see how this one goes. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed yourselves out of this. There's a lot of potential. We could just play like an LBS style deck as well, because we have the tools to use our Holon cards with Blastoise and Meganium and stuff like that. So maybe we just play that sort of deck. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Till next time though, take care.